So good afternoon, welcome to Les Sables d'Olonne. It is day number 66 on the race course, and it's all about Route 66 north to Recife for the leaders. It's a speed race all the way to the top northeast corner of Brazil and then beyond. There really is nothing in it still. There's 25 miles between first and fourth, and it's going to be all about a combination of potential, maximum potential for each boat. It's going to be a combination of foils or no foils, the big foils, and really the G2, the principal workhorse sail for the leaders. The game really is wide open. In the meantime, approaching Cape Horn just now, we have Stefano de Rezong, who should be next round, then Spain's Didac Costa, round after that, and then Kojiro Shiraishi approaching. He's about still 150 miles or so for the Japanese skipper. A real international day at Cape Horn then today. And in the studio today, my special guest is Antoine Mermod, the president of IMOCA, the Grand Fromage, the big cheese of IMOCA, is with us here on the stage. And in La Rochelle, just down the coast, we have the performance and systems engineer with YB Racing, with Yannick Bestaven's team, with Maître. And he's joining us, and he's going to give us a little bit of an insight into life behind the curtain with the Yannick Bestaven's team, with the Maître team. He's one of the geeks who looks after all the data and the performance of the boat. Antoine, how are you?
I'm very fine, thank you. Hello, everyone. Sorry.
What's the mood in your office just now? You must be biting your nails the whole time.
Not exactly. I mean, since mid-December, Yannick has already offered us a good gift. He was in front of the pack and got trapped into lighter winds. So right now we are just focusing in helping him when he needs, and yeah, we checked the cartography all the time.
All the time, all the time, every 5 minutes.
Not every half an hour.
And is it stressful for you in the office, or is it just the same for everyone, do you think? I mean, it must have been terrible when you had 450 miles of lead and it's just disappearing like snow in the Brazilian sunshine.
Yes, but the race, it's not over yet. Yannick has got the keys to finish the race well. Yeah, I mean, our initial goal was to finish the race, and then, if possible, in the top 5. So he's still able to reach that goal, and we work a lot, and also our mental coach work a lot to make this to put this in his mind.
Good for you. Listen, we'll come back to you in one minute or two. We're going to look at Boris Herrmann, who's right in the match, and he's come back nicely. Had his problems coming into Cape Horn. He really does have everything in place to return a good result. And this is Boris when we spoke to him earlier on today.
I thought I was like lying in my bunk and reading book after book and being bored and just sailing upwind in the trade winds and nothing happening. That's what happened a little bit in the Barcelona World Race 10 years ago, and now it's a present for us, a surprise that we have a funny little race. It's a little bonus. It doesn't feel like the Vendée Globe. It feels like the Port La Forêt training race, and I kind of have to poke myself to take it serious because it seems like so unreal.
A Port La Forêt training race, you know your potential, you know how you can go against the other boats. Give us your picture, who's got what and what's your potential?
Well, I'm normally a humble person, but here I would say, in theory, our boat should have the best potential for the next 8 days. Starboard tack, so I have a proper port side foil, which is more efficient than Louis Bertin, Maître, and I suppose, I don't know exactly how Apivia will go, or maybe Apivia is the fastest, but then maybe, you know, we have a very good potential in the boat. So now it's a bit in the hand of the weather scenario as well, how much this bungee stretches out in what sequence. and if we really find wind to use the foil or not. If it's, as I said earlier in French, if it's 11 or 12 knots, 13 or 14 knots, then we can accelerate a lot and zoom onto the others, really.
And from a morale point of view, you've just done a route to Les Sables d'Olonne. That must feel great.
Well, yeah, the first time it happened was, I think, last night or yesterday morning or something. The GFS, just for jokes, I run it to the finish. I mean, it doesn't give us any relevant information at the moment, but it just, you know, it's just good for the morale to see that routing arriving at the finish. And then I do it again last evening and this morning, and it's showing 13 days. It's showing 10 days of starboard side, starboard tack reaching, and the rest is downwind. So you in 4 hours upwind, I think. So you know, that's the sailor's dream track. And quite interesting, you know, we have the different climate zones to pass. We have now a transition into the proper trades, then we have a transition with the doldrums, North trades, and then inside the trades we have different levels of intensity, and then the northern hemisphere low pressure zone with jibes and strong winds and fronts. So we won't be bored on this last stretch.
For sure, we won't be bored on board. We won't be bored watching from Les Sables d'Olonne and around the world for these final stretch up to the finish. Antoine Mermod, you know all these guys, you know all the boats, you know the fine detail. How do you evaluate the situation just now? Who's got what and what can we expect?
It's hard to say that for sure. It's it's a very close race, and it's hard to know exactly what's the real state of each boat. But I think that I'm quite close to what I agree with Boris. I think that it seems that you need to have a good package for the next 8 days sailing starboard tack. That means good foil working well on port, plus G2. And Boris seems to have this package ready to be used. Then Boris could be a good one. I think for Thomas Ruyant, we know that the port foil is not, he can't use it. Then I think it's a pain for him, and it will be hard for him to follow. And maybe Maître Coq, who is close to lead, the boat is is ready, and then but it's a small foil, but it should be also a very good package, isn't it, Antoine?
No, yes, I think that Yannick has the keys to perform well, but as Boris said, he's a good sailor. On the paper, he can be the faster boat from now on to Les Sables d'Olonne. I think that Louis Burton can also be a good contender, but of course, even if the new boats has got problems, but as you say, we are not pretty sure. But with their foils, well, yes, they can also be, of course, winning the race or on the podium.
Indeed. Now, Antoine, we were saying that 2 knots of difference in wind speed can make a big difference in terms of boat speed to the foilers.
Yeah, that's what Boris.
And a couple of degrees.
Yeah, that's what Boris said. When the wind is up to 13, 14 knots, then they can use the foil. They sail a little bit lower, maybe 5 degrees lower, but the boat could be 4 knots faster or 5 knots faster. And then in VMG, it's a gain of 2 knots. That makes a huge difference.
2 knots over 24 hours.
Which is 48 miles.
Indeed. And so there really is nothing in it. And what about for the daggerboard boats, for the boats which are a little bit further to the east, for Damien Sagan, for Jean Le Cam, and for Benjamin Dutreux? The game's not over for them?
To be honest, it's hard to say that the game is over in this Vendée Globe, because each time we feel that a boat or a concept is leading in this race, then a few days after that everything changes. Then it's hard to say it's over. But for 6 days starboard tack, 65 degrees of the wind, it seems that from what we know of the performance of the boat, on the normal use of the boat, the foiler and with bigger foil are much performant than this boat. But but we will see. Huh?
As president of IMOCA, you must be very pleased with the way the class has performed in this race and the race is coming to a climax.
Yes, for sure. It's a great success for us because most of the boats are now still racing, and it seems that the reliability of the fleet is very good, which is important because we want to talk about sport and not about reliability or damage. It's also a huge success because it's a very close race. A lot of things change. It's not more than 2 months that we are following this race, and we don't know who will win. We've got a lot of different kind of skipper racing against each other, and then it's also very good for the fan, for the public, and we've got very high numbers of return, which is very good for our partner. Then I have to say that yes, we are very happy about this race.
And a lot of interest for the next race, presumably, because there's always people looking for boats just now. Everybody's inspired when the race is going on.
Yes, that's true. You know, the Vendée Globe is a huge adventure, and you know, to be lucky to be part of it is really something important for the skipper, and then that's the dream of one life, actually.
Good. We'll come back to you in just 1 second, Antoine, and indeed Antoine Connan in La Rochelle. We're just going to look at the rankings just now, as at midday today, French time. And as we said, Charlie Dallin in the lead. He's only 3.5 miles ahead. And Yannick Bestaven was quite slow on the 30-minute speed gun compared to Dallin. Dallin a little bit further offshore, about 80 miles, 70 miles further offshore to the east. He's doing 11.5 knots, and his speed over the last Classement period is also 11.5 knots. Compared with Yannick Bestaven, who's doing 4.2 and 9.7. Louis Burton up in third, doing 9.7 knots. Thomas Riong doing 10.3 on very much on the same track as Louis Burton. Damien Sagan has lost just a little bit, as we might expect, further out to the east. He's doing 10.1 knots, but he's in fifth. Boris Herrmann in sixth. He's 71.7 miles behind the leader. So he's lost just a little bit to the leaders over the course of the Classements. Benjamin Treux in seventh. Jean Le Cam in eighth. Jean is now 123.8 miles behind the leaders. Giancarlo Padotti is actually doing quite nicely as well in ninth. We have Giancarlo in the show in just a minute. Further down the rankings, well, we're looking at Alan Rura, who's now been passed by Jeremy Bayou since Cape Horn. Bayou's just a mile ahead, but going a little bit faster, 14.6 knots compared to 14.3. But we would expect Jeremy Bayou to now catch up with Arnaud Boissy, who's 11 miles ahead. But that little match, that little trio, still quite close together. Pip Hare in 17th, doing 14 knots. And then, as I say, the next group coming round Cape Horn together or close together. Stefan Laderezong 18th, Didac Costa 19th, and Kojiro Shiraishi in 20th. Manu Kuzan still very much out on his own. Then looking at Miranda Meron, nice steady speeds for her. She's doing 10.6 knots. Alexia Barry with another big blow, a big wind coming in for her. Ari Hosella steady as he always is up in the more northerly, safe and secure routing in 25th. And Sebastian Destremo slowed at 2 knots just now, so we'll no doubt get an update from him. So then, Antoine Connan, just tell us a little bit about your role exactly. What does a performance and systems engineer do on an IMOCA?
Basically, my main goal is managing the data acquisition and how we use all the data to improve the boat performance and reliability. For instance, is making sure that a sensor measures a good data, what we can call calibration, and also, for instance, making sure that we detect a sensor failure, which can be called a fault detection, and we pushed hard on this. And that also makes me responsible of the onboard electronic and informatic.
So, but in essence, you've had a very reliable race so far. I don't think Yannick's had any significant failures, has he?
No, not so much. And I think so far we are happy with the Yannick's package during the race. But the best person to answer that question is Yannick, for sure.
Indeed. How many sensors do you have on board, and what do they do?
We have quite a lot of sensors, but less than new boats. But at the end, we calculate around 2,000 data in our acquisition process.
And how has that affected the choices that you made? Because you made some smart choices. You're not one of the teams with the biggest budgets. Let's say you've made some smart choices. How did your data acquisition and your performance analysis, how did that influence your choices?
Not sure if we did the best choices, but concerning data and electronics, when I arrived within the team in 2019, we worked more on performance, analyzing the data in order to find the best settings, configuration, and sales, and so on in each weather conditions. And we also had to understand our new autopilot designed by Made in Tech. And in 2020, our goal within the whole team was to push hard on the boat reliability. So, for instance, concerning the electronic, it was focusing more on the sensors, the data from the primary sensors and the backup sensors as well. And we also making sure that the backup autopilot, the second one and the third one, was could be powered up easily by Yannick in case he needed it, and with no issues.
So in essence, that means that if one pilot fails, the other one kicks in immediately, and there's no issues with broaching or things like that?
Not exactly. If on our boat, we worked for if we did in real time, we detect if most of the sensor fails. And if there is a backup sensor, the autopilot switch automatically to the backup sensors, meaning if you lose your masthead unit, you keep steering straight. And it's quite important for these fast boats because you broach less. And yes, what was your question? Sorry.
That was pretty much it. I mean, I think we're good with that. And Yannick is an engineer himself, isn't he? So what does that bring to your project?
I mean, Yannick understands very well and is always coming, in the morning with a new wish, a new question, or a new idea. And he's really open to development, testing, R&D. We've got a lot of technical partners that supply us in these fields. And this is the DNA of the IMOCA class, and we are very happy with it.
Good. How would you say your team is different from the other IMOCA teams at the top of the fleet just now?
So I do not have a strong experience here, but I would say that Yannick tried to gather in only 2 years a certain amount of experts within the team and around it, mixing it with a couple of rookies like me. And we also have lots of, as I said, technical partners and suppliers that did not count the time spent on the project. And I thank them all for that.
Good indeed. Right, listen, we'll come back to you in just 1 second. We're going to have a quick look at the meteo situation. It's relatively self-explanatory at the front, but it's everything is to play for. Well, for this leading group of boats, it's all about a drag race, a speed race to the corner of Brazil, to Recife, and it's going to be very close. It's all about boat speed and potential, whether you're foiling or the daggerboard boats, the straight daggerboard boats, which are principally in the east here. We have Damien Sagan, and we have Benjamin Dutroux and Jean Le Cam, the three of them staying furthest to the east. They'll try and use the lifting breeze as they go up, possibly sail slightly fewer miles. Meantime, the boats to the west really are the foiling boats. It's all about the foiling power and who can foil fastest and longest in the wind conditions. Now bear in mind that 2 or 3 degrees of difference in terms of height can make the difference of 3 or 4, 5 knots of boat speed, and it's really all about the optimum setup and who has got the best situation there. So looking at Yannick Bestaven to the west, well, he's got a slightly more a tighter angle. He's more got the breeze coming more from the northeast just now. and is probably going to be slightly slower. Whereas we can see that Charlie Dallin, Louis Burton and Thomas Riong about 70 miles to the east just now. That gives them a much better angle. We're seeing a kind of 7 degrees of separation between them. And in marginal foiling conditions, that can make a big difference. But as they get into the foiling conditions, then they should be significantly quicker than Yannick Bestaven. But even so, it's going to be very, very close coming up to Recife. So we can see this is this area at Recife. Here we have these are two different areas of, this is a contrary current here and also a positive current up there. And this is a relatively slack area. So again, there is the benefit of being slightly further offshore and missing the current as much as possible. So that's the situation really for the leading group. I'm going to show you quite quickly the boats still coming into or just round Cape Horn. Let's look principally at this group here, which is this is Pip here, and here we have the group of three, which is Jeremy B, Arnaud Boissier, and Alan Rura. So they're in good southwesterly breezes under the influence of this low pressure system up there. So they're going quite nicely just now, just to the east of the Falklands. And then here, coming into Cape Horn today, this system coming in, there's quite a lot of breeze in here for 30-40 knots, and that's going to catch Kojiro Shiraishi here. He's expecting that to come in the latter part of the day as he comes into Cape Horn. Slightly less for Didac and for Stefan Lederezong. Lederezong's come in from a higher angle up on the Chilean coast, and so he's coming in. But quite difficult conditions, particularly for Koji coming in a little bit later. Meantime, Miranda Merrin and Clement Giraud close together in this high pressure ridge. Nothing too terrible for them just now, slightly slowed, but the next system will come in for them progressively. And further back here, we have Alexia Barry just in front of this system, and safe and sound as ever, Ari Hosela at the back of the fleet there, always routing up in the north and staying safe. So let's run this animation, and we can see the passage up to Recife on the corner there. So just watching Yannick Bestaven in this group slightly to their east. You can see Bestaven is quite good just now. And then progressively, as we get further up, then we're seeing Charlie Dallin being able to move away slightly, but it does look very, very close all the way to the corner, with the advantage probably to the foiling boats. Well, we're going to find out in the next few days. Antoine Mermod, tell us a little about the data to and from the boats. There's nothing allowed to come off the boats or go to the teams, and you're not allowed to send data to the boats.
Yes, actually the Vendée Globe is a non-assistance race, and that makes that the boat can't send any data to the Earth, to the team.
Unless it's public, is that right?
Unless it's public. It means that whatever information are shared, which are shared between the boat and the Earth, it has to be publicly published actually on live.
So typically
that's why on Hugo Boss, for example,
yeah.
you had this website in which you can have the data, all the data that has been received from the boat.
And correspondingly, there's no data. You can't send any data to the boats.
No.
Not at all. What have we learned from that in that respect? Of what have we seen in terms of the performance, for example, of Hugo Boss?
Actually, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
No, but it seems that it was a very fast boat.
Yeah.
And we can see that reaching from Theta to the south, it was one of the fastest boats at the time. We are a little bit disappointed that the boat was made to sail downwind and maybe flying downwind.
Yeah.
That was the plan, and actually it had to stop before we had this kind of sailing session. Then it's hard to know exactly where they are. But the other VPLP boat, Charal, it seems to be a very fast boat, and from what I think that it was the fastest from Good Hope to Cape Horn. I think it
That's
did.
right, by 45 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Ahead
That
of our
makes that
Notre
this way of this option from VPLP was to be a little bit more flyer than the other. Seems to be not bad. And yeah, we can't wait for next race, which could be in June, the Ocean Race Europe, in which maybe Hugo Boss could show us his full package. Actually,
That will be a very different kind of race, though, won't it? I mean, it'll be Mediterranean.
yes, that's sure. But at the end, it's a race, and a fast boat is fast in whatever condition.
Good. We'll come back to you in 1 second. Meantime, Antoine, tell us a little bit. Can you learn anything off what you see on the tracker every day? In terms of
Yes.
data, or is there any? You obviously can't
Yes,
take
yes.
data off the boat per se, but what do you learn from what you see every day in terms of the performances of the different boats?
I'm not able to take as much time as I want to dig into all the data. To make it short, I'm impressed by how the IMOCAs with Daggerbirds perform around the globe. And therefore, I'm wondering if the IMOCA yachts really need very big foil to race around the globe. If you consider sportivity, the time and the money needed to make your boat reliable.
It's an interesting point. Antoine, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have a look at Giancarlo Padotti. He's in good form this morning, enjoying the sunshine, but working very hard.
Yesterday I worked a little bit on the deck, and was very, very sunny, and I take a little bit sun, and was very hot. On board I was around 36, and in the night 30, and then around 4 o'clock 28, and just now is 28, so it's not so bad.
So it's hard to sleep.
Yes, it's hard to sleep. Yesterday night I trimmed the boat all the time. I switch a lot of sail, and after you are tired and you sleep like a baby.
Now tell us, how do you feel about your position?
But I feel that we are a group of 9 boats, really close in the same meteo system, and I think that now is a run of speed, and I hope to have soon the wind more from the right, more from the east, for stay on foil and go fast.
And what's the potential of your boat? You're at 100% potential?
Yes. Right now, yes, but I'm upwind, so it's not the best go upwind for my boat. But for this, I said that I hope that now change quickly for stay on soil.
So what's your best angle?
Because my foil I have very, very little. It depends of the intensity of the wind, but with this wind, 10 knots around 90.
So you think you can take some more places?
I always think about it. I always.
That's what we love, Giancarlo. You're always
Of
positive.
course. Andy, I'm not here for make tourism, eh? It's not a cruiser. I'm not, on the big boat with cinema.
Lovely.
Party, not at all.
Good.
Race with knife on the feet. Oh!
Don't we love Giancarlo Padotti? He's 9 miles behind Jean Le Cam just now, and catching very slowly, but he's on great form. Thank you so much to my guest today, Antoine Mermod. I hope will join us before the finish of the race, and hopefully during the finish period. And Antoine Connan, I'm sure, will be up here for the finish with Yannick. Yannick Bastaven, when he comes into the finish. Who knows what the order will be. Meantime, join us tomorrow. My guest, as ever, on every Thursday will be Marcus Hutchison, the team manager for Thomas Riong and the linked out team. Marcus will be with us at 12:30 UTC, 13:30 here in France. Any questions, indeed, always post them on Facebook, Instagram or Twitter. We'll see you tomorrow.